All right, hi Algebra 2 students. Today we are going to graph parabolas in standard form using X-intercepts, Y-intercepts, and the vertex. All of these pieces you've done before, except for X-intercepts. Whoop! Vertex, you've seen. Y-intercept, you've seen. X-intercepts is what we practiced yesterday, and now we're going to apply them. So, if we look at this first equation, y equals x squared minus 4x, what we'd like to do is we'd like to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the y-intercept, and the x-intercepts. Vertex and x-intercepts, you guys remember, are kind of the harder pieces. Now, I have another sheet here with me, this sheet talking about graphing parabolas. And if you remember this, this tells us how to find the vertex. It also tells us the axis of symmetry. It also tells us the y-intercept. Those are all pieces I'm going to use as I graph these. So, the vertex we know is equal to negative b divided by 2a. Well, in this problem, a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 4, and c is 0. So if I do negative b divided by 2a, I get a positive 4 divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. So the x value of my vertex is 2. When I plug it in, I get 2 squared minus 4 times 2, which is 4 minus 8, which is negative 4. That's my vertex. Axis of symmetry, x equals the x value of vertex. Y-intercept is your c value, or 0. So I have some points, 2 and negative 4. I know my axis of symmetry runs right down the middle. Now what I have to find is the x-intercepts. And I do that, we practiced yesterday, by taking your function and setting it equal to 0. So 0 equals x squared minus 4x. First rule, we look for greatest common factor. Greatest common factor is x. Take it out, you're left with x minus 4. Take both of those, set them equal to 0. X equals 0, and x minus 4 equals 0. Solve. X is equal to 4, and x equals 0. So your x-intercepts are 0 and 4. We plot those on the x-axis. And when we do, we have a graph. So problem 1 does a really good job of summarizing what we're learning today. Finding the vertex, finding the axis of symmetry, y-intercept, x-intercepts, and then graphing it. So this should tie together your learning from the previous test as well as what we did yesterday. Let's try another one. Vertex, negative b divided by 2a. A is equal to 1. B, negative 4. And C, 3. Negative b divided by 2a is equal to positive 4 divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. 2 is the x value of my vertex. To find my y value, I plug it back in. 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 3 is 4 minus 8 plus 3, which is equal to negative 1. That is the y value of my vertex. Once we find the vertex, axis of symmetry is easy. X equals positive 2. Y-intercept is the c value, or 3. We can plot some information here. 2, negative 1. Draw my axis of symmetry right through it. Y-intercept of positive 3. I could reflect that over the axis of symmetry to get another point. But I'd also like to find my x-intercepts. And I do that by taking the function and saying equal to 0. 0 equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. That's a trinomial. There is no greatest common factor. Factors to x minus 3 times x minus 1. X minus 3 equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0. So x is 3. X is 1. So that gives a nice summary of those two. You can see they both go up because the front value is positive. Down here for 3 and 4, you can see both are negative, so they are going to go down. And these work out a little bit differently. But you can see it's nice to have the X-intercepts. It's nice to know where those pass through. They're very important as we move forward. These we all find by factoring, so they make it quicker. They make it nice. Number 3, find the vertex. Again, we start out with A in this situation is -1. B is 1, and C is 0. Negative B divided by 2A. Negative B would be -1 divided by 2 times -1 is a positive 1/2. So it is possible to get a fraction. If you're confused about what to do with the fraction, as you plug it back in, go ahead on your calculator. Type in negative parentheses 1/2, that's a fraction, squared, plus parentheses 1/2. So I could just put my fractions in parentheses, just typing in my function just as it would be, and evaluate it. I get 0.25, or 1/4. If you don't know how to convert a fraction or a decimal to a fraction, if you press the math key and press enter on convert to fraction, you get 1/4. So your calculator will do that for you. Have my vertex axis to symmetry, x equals 1/2, and the y-intercept in this case is 0. So I could plot my coordinates 1/2 and 1/4. Wow, that's kind of difficult to see, but that's where it sits. To find the x-intercepts, I take my function, I set it equal to 0. Now that I have it equal to 0, I look for greatest common factor. Negative x is the greatest common factor. When I take that out, I'm left with a positive x and a -1. I take both of those and I set them equal to 0. Add the 1 to both sides, as x is equal to 1. Divide by -1, I get x is 0. So 0 and +1 are my two solutions. Those are 3 points. It's enough to be able to make my graph. You can see it. There you go. And it goes down just like we thought it would. Okay, and for our final one, same process. You can see it goes down. I'm going to list it off. A is equal to -1, B is equal to -3, and C is equal to -2. To find the vertex, I do negative B divided by 2A. Negative B would be +3 divided by 2 times -1. Which would be +3 over -2, which is -1.5. You can write as a decimal or a fraction, that would be fine, but -1.5 is the x value of my vertex. Again, if you have problems working with decimals or with fractions, go ahead and punch into your calculator. I have my negative sign, parentheses, -1.5, parentheses, squared, minus 3 times parentheses, -1.5, parentheses, minus 2. We get 0.25. So that's my vertex. Axis of symmetry is easy from there. X equals -1.5. The y-intercept we said was -2 from our C value. I can plot that information. Vertex, -1.5 and 0.25. Again, looks kind of strange, but that's where it sits. It says the y-intercept is -2. As we draw the axis of symmetry, you can see that you would have a point right over here on the other side as well. Let's find our x-intercepts. 0 equals negative x squared minus 3x minus 2. First question, is there a greatest common factor? Yes, there is. Negative 1. Take it out. You're left with positive x squared, positive 3x, positive 2. That's a trinomial. Factors to two binomials, x plus 2, x plus 1. Set them both equal to 0. Subtract the 2. We get negative 2. We get negative 1. I'm sorry, I didn't put the x-intercepts over on this other side. We solved for when we got 0 and 1. Sorry about that. Anyway, those are the characteristics of the graphs. So you can see I've provided room for you to work. I've given you vertex, axis, symmetry, y-intercept, x-intercepts. Here's 4 problems that you can follow on. All the others should follow accordingly. You have 12 more problems to complete. And as I said, you also get to use this graphing parabolas worksheet. If you want to rewatch the video, you can simply type in on YouTube Kevin Gens, and then if you click on my name, you'll be brought to my channel. And simply look for the Algebra 2 video on graphing parabolas. So, if you have questions over the weekend, you can rewatch it. You can rewatch in class, whatever you need to do, but that'll give you an opportunity to be able to figure out how to do this. So, hopefully it goes very well. Please get to work, and we can go over any questions on Monday. I should have your test graded and back to you.